Hello, everybody out there in Rumble X and YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego, and today we're going to talk some more about Eat, Pray, Love. Okay, the chick flick rom-com, if you want to call it a com. It's not funny at all. I guess it's just a chick flick. It's a romantic movie, whatever, starring the queen of rom-coms from the 90s and 2000s, Julia Big Mouth Roberts. Okay, this movie, I'm still reviewing it, obviously, and I see so many patterns from this movie that that have survived up until now to 2026. You know, you want to know why so many movies are woke. You want to know why women are always portrayed as boss bitches. They're always portrayed as successful, strong, independent, wealthy, with no kids. Okay, no, you know, they're not married. Okay, they don't want to get married. Okay, you know, they want to have boyfriends, you know, a string of boyfriends, but no commitment, you know, because, you know, they can date like men, you know, that kind of crap. Okay, this is where it comes from. This is like ground zero right here. Okay, because this is 2010. This is before, well, I mean, it's after Sex and the City. Sex and the City did it first, I guess. But this movie kind of just propagated that whole thing. And you want to know why no one's getting married anymore, and why divorces are above 55% now, why women instigate 75% of all divorces, why men aren't approaching women anymore, why men aren't, you know, they're not trying with women anymore. You know, you want to know about that stuff. Okay, this movie is a part of that problem. Okay, and to make it worse, and I'm looking at you ladies out there that are watching this video. Okay, what makes it really bad is that a lot of you believe this crap. You believe it. You believe that men really do act this way. I know one of you right now is going to be like, oh, well, I dated a guy that did exactly the same thing. You don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm not talking about you. Of course, there's always going to be men like this in real life. Of course, okay, but the majority of men are not like this. Okay, these are not real men. Okay, now, if you watch my other videos, you know that I already reviewed every single episode of Sex and the City. Every single one. It's on this channel, okay? And I reviewed the movies, okay? And that piece of crap sequel series, And Just Like Crap. I reviewed every episode of that too, okay? I know Sex and the City. I know that, all right? And one of my biggest complaints on that is there were no men on that show. There's very few men on that show. There was Big, Steve, maybe, you know. I would even go so far as say maybe even like Harry, okay, could be considered a man, although beta male, but a man, okay, you know, something like that, okay. But other than that, there were no real men on that show, okay. They were all pussies. They were all one-dimensional. They were all, you know, weak. The women were stronger than the men, okay, and that goes for all the men on the show, okay, including the realistic ones, okay. The women always had the power, okay. The men were always submissive in some form or another. Oh, you could say, you make the argument that Big, you know, was emotionally detached from Carrie and that caused her a lot of anxiety. You could make that argument, but, you know, and maybe that was true in the first 3 seasons, but after that, no. Carrie had Big wrapped around her finger for the most part. Okay, you know, and by the time the movies came out, oh yeah, he was all about whatever the hell Carrie wants, Carrie gets. Okay, so no, there was never a balance of power in these rom-coms. The women always had the power. And yes, I know there are a lot of relationships like that in real life. I've seen some. I've been in a couple, okay, where the woman called the shots. I'm not proud to admit that, but I have. I have dated women that had stronger personalities than me, okay? And there's a reason those relationships didn't last, okay? So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not even saying it doesn't happen very much, okay? But what I'm saying is that that's not masculine, okay? Any man with any sort of self-respect, okay, that embraces his masculinity is not going to let a woman walk all over him, okay? She's going to receive resistance when she tries, okay? You know, you might find this very hard to believe, okay? But, you know, not every woman is smarter than every man they're dating. A lot of times the men are smarter than the women, okay? And so you'll actually see where it's the woman that's the dumbass in the relationship, and it's the guy that actually, you know, has to roll his eyes at her and fix everything because she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. That also happens, but you'll never see that in one of these movies. You'll never see that on a TV show, okay, or in a book or anything like that, because that would depict a woman as weak. okay, to the man, okay, and that's not allowed. And that's what I'm talking about. You women look at this shit and you think it's real. You think this is real. This is a mirror of reality. I know someone that went through that, or I've been through that myself. I know exactly what she's going through, blah, blah, blah. Okay? But the truth is, this isn't realistic at all. Because realistic would show both sides. It would show dominant women. It would also show dominant man. Okay? It would show intelligent women. It would also show intelligent men. Okay? It would show a courageous woman. It would also show a courageous man. You see what I mean? And we don't get that. At least not on the guy's side, we don't get it. There are no men on this. All the men in this movie are cowards. They're crybabies. They're stupid. They're insecure. That's it. That's all the men that we have in this movie. All of them. Every single one of them fits in at least one of those categories. Now I understand if you want to, have relatability to characters, then you have to make them human. You've got to get them faults. I get that. Okay, but why is it the men have all the feminine faults? And the women in this movie have all the masculine ones. All the women in this movie want to be boss bitches. They want to be in charge. Okay? They want to be successful in their careers. Okay? They want to accomplish these great fucking things that don't need no man. You see what I mean? That's every woman in this movie is that way. Except for like the old lady. The old lady in Italy. Maybe she's not that way. But that's the truth. Even Delia, her married friend, the black woman, Viola Davis's character, okay? Even she dominates her marriage over her husband. She dominates that marriage, okay? Even when Liz went to Italy, remember when she met Sophie, the Swedish flight attendant with a perfect American accent? Remember that? Okay, remember she fell in love, or she had the hots for Giovanni, her tutor, her Italian tutor, right? Remember that? Okay, remember that scene when they were having their stupid Thanksgiving in Italy? And they forgot to cook the turkey. Remember that? They had to say something they were grateful for. And what did Giovanni say? Okay, he said he was great. He looked at Sophie and says, I'm grateful for having love in my life. But I'm also scared that she will take that love away from me. And I won't be able to recover. You see what I mean? And that's the guy that gets the girl in this movie. That is what he was grateful for. That he's a pussy fucking simp. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, a lot of you didn't catch that, did you? I fucking caught it. You got her ex-husband, Steven, crying like a fucking bitch during the divorce proceedings. Screaming, quit her. Like, what the fuck? No one fucking does that. No one fucking does that. And you got David. David was just there because he's eye candy. Okay? And because he was Hindu. Which is so against the norm. I mean, Liz looked at Hinduism as like, oh, okay. As like trying out a new restaurant. You see what I mean? It's just like, well, she was just praying to God, the Christian God, a couple of minutes ago, begging the Christian God for guidance. But then she told her husband she wanted the divorce, boom, now she's Hindu. Now she's all like, chanting, like threw that God away when she got what she wanted. And now she just became a Hindu. Because she was dating a guy who just happened to be Hindu. Okay? And let me tell you something, okay? This guy David is not a fucking Hindu. Okay, you know why he has that? You know why he has those little statuettes? Okay, a fucking Keisha, or whatever the fuck the god's name is, the Hindu gods that he has. You know why he has that shit in the candles? You know why he has that shit? He has that to get fucking laid, because he's broke. He's a broke dick fucking out of work actor. Okay. So how do you fucking seduce women? You gotta offer them something that not every fucking guy can offer them, okay? With him, it's fucking Hinduism. Oh, once you get to know me, guess what? Hindu. Oh, yeah, transcendentalism, meditation, Brahma, all this kind of fucking shit, okay, which the average woman doesn't know about. So she's naturally gonna be, oh, can you tell me what that means? Absolutely, come right over here. You see what I mean? That's how he does it. Okay, it's just a pickup act. And now why the fuck would a 28-year-old out-of-work actor want to get with a 42-year-old professional writer? Okay, there's only one fucking reason, so she can support him. so she can support him. Okay? And the fact that nobody brought that up in this movie, like that never even entered Liz Gilbert's mind. That maybe the only reason this good-looking young man would be fucking her is so that she can pay his bills. Okay? As if it's totally unheard of for any young, good-looking actor to get a sugar mama to pay his fucking bills while he's trying to make it. All right? Like, that is so beyond the realm of possibility, isn't it? You know why you don't know that? You know why that never occurred to you? Because you're fucking stupid. Okay? I did acting when I was younger. I had lots of friends that were actors. I've talked about this in many videos. Okay? I used to work at a fancy restaurant in downtown Chicago, right off the river. Okay? And all the waiters, bartenders that I worked with, they were all actors. Okay, they're working here while they're going to auditions, in between auditions. Okay, all good looking. I worked a lot of models, a lot of musicians. Okay, a lot of actors. Okay, comedians, stand-up comedians, all that. Okay, we all work together. We're going to talk about like the best group of people to work with. Oh my God, best job I ever had. Okay, waiting tables at this restaurant in downtown Chicago. Okay, it was awesome. All right, the parties we had, the fun we had, unbelievable. All right, very, very social, very, very nice. Okay, and yes, some of the guys that I worked with, okay, and a lot of the girls that I work with, they had sugar parents. The women had sugar daddies, and the men had sugar mamas. Okay, these were women that were, middle-aged, usually divorced. They got their careers, so they got disposable income. And what do they want to spend it on? They spend it on a young, good-looking guy, okay, who can fuck like a horse, because that makes her feel attractive. That makes her feel special. Women are just as shallow, insecure as men are, okay? Older women will spend money on young, good-looking men so that they can feel better about themselves, because that's what the guy brings to her. Makes her feel young. Makes her feel like she's still pretty. Makes her feel like she's still that girl in high school, okay, that can get the fucking the quarterback from the football team, the Friday Night Lights guy, to fuck her and be her boyfriend and fall in love with her. You see what I mean? But she don't look that way anymore, okay? But with this guy here, she can pretend that she still looks that way and all that. You see what I mean? It's just cope. It's cope for her to deal with the fact that she's aging and that she's alone, and that men her age don't want to fucking date her, because she's not that attractive. Not only that, she got a chip on her shoulder against men, okay? So she's been jaded. So you see what I mean? So if she just pretends that if she just like blocks out in her mind that she's actually paying this guy, okay, to make her feel beautiful and young, then she'll do it. She will do it. I've seen it. I've seen these women you bought my friend a fucking motorcycle. A motorcycle. She bought him a fucking motorcycle. And all he had to do was fucking lay the pipe. Can you believe that? And he was dating hot young women when he wasn't with her. But when he was with her, it was all about her. And she reciprocated by, boom, buying him things. Okay, taking care of him. And come on, he's fucking waiting tables, for Christ's sake. He's trying to get his big break. He's trying to, go to auditions and shit. Of course. Who's going to supplement his income? You see what I mean? That's it. That's it. Now, women have been doing this since the beginning of time. But the idea that a man could do this and get away with it and successfully do this, for some reason, they never want to make movies about that. They never want to show that. You know why? Because it would make the woman, a middle-aged woman, look weak and pathetic. And we can't have that in these movies. Only the men are allowed to be weak and pathetic. You see what I mean? These movies aren't honest, because they're not showing women truthfully. And they're definitely not showing men truthfully. So why the fuck are you paying attention to them? Why the fuck are you reading these books and expecting to learn something about life? Why the fuck are you watching this shit and think it's going to fucking happen to you? Why are you rooting for Liz Gilbert to find love when she's a narcissistic, selfish piece of shit? Her whole story arc here is to absolve herself of guilt. That's the whole point of this fucking movie, is so she don't have to feel guilty about her fucking selfish fucking decisions. That's it. That's the point of this movie. Is that what you're trying to get out of it? Because it don't fucking work. It didn't even work for Liz Gilbert in real life. They need to make a fucking part 3 to this shit, because Coyote Ugly's part 1. This is part 2. They need to fucking do another one, okay, where she dumps this guy for a fucking ugly lesbian, And then she starts, when her lesbian lover dies, she starts dating guys again. Then she gets dumped by the guys. And now she's fucking alone. Alone, old, and ugly. But she got money and she got cats. So I'm pretty sure she's paying, she's shilling out to get some fucking attention from some young fucking bull. Okay? I'm pretty sure that's what she's doing now. Okay? But you can't really show that in a movie because it looks bad. It makes women look bad and pathetic and weak. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine a chick flick? Chick flick. That means it's made for chicks that actually depicts a woman feeling bad about herself, you know, and realizing that, oh my God, I can't compete with these young women. I've made some bad decisions. I fucked over some good men because I thought the grass was always greener, and now I'm alone. Not only am I alone and sad, and realize that I've been selfish for most of my life and I hurt people without thinking about it. And now I'm hurting because I'm not young and beautiful anymore, and that was my whole identity. What do I do? How do I rebuild myself? How do I build myself up again so that I can look at myself in the mirror and actually love the woman that I see, which I haven't in a long time? I don't know this woman in the mirror. I know the beautiful, hot 22-year-old, but that's not the same girl looking at me now. What do I do? How do I fix this? How do I still find happiness at fucking 45 years old? When the only good looking guys that want to be with me are the ones that I have to pay for, or they're just pumping dumps. What do I do? You see what I mean? Make that movie. Make that movie. I want to see that movie. And if Hollywood, you know what? And if Hollywood were to make that movie, you know what the fuck would happen? They would get some fucking 6 foot fucking 2 hungry as shoe, like an Austin Butler, but with bigger muscles and shredded abs. And he's just gonna fucking be the guy that picks up her garbage. He's gonna notice her one day in her robe and her cellulite and her saggy. He's like, oh my God, I apologize, but you're just so lovely. Boom, and then she's gonna realize, fucking, oh my God. Men, gorgeous men still find me attractive. Oh my God, you know? And then it's going to be a remake of fucking How Stella Got Her Groove On. Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. All right? That's what it's going to be. It's going to be bullshit. Now, I know that movies are fictional. They're just entertainment. I know that. I know that, okay? But the best movies have some sort of relatability. They have some sort of a moral there, some sort of a lesson there that's universal, that anybody who watches this movie, man or woman, gay, straight, black or white, don't matter, can understand and relate to. Those are the best movies, okay? Those are the best movies, okay? The verisimilitude, that you believe what you're seeing, okay? That yes, the events are fiction, but the emotions behind them, okay, are real. You know, I think they said that best in Harry Potter, where there was a scene where I don't watch those movies. My sister loved them. She made me watch a couple of them. And I remember there's a scene like in the last Harry Potter movie where Harry's at the train station and he sees the ghost of Dumbledore there. And he says something like, you know, he says something like this is all fake or something. And then Dumbledore tells Harry, of course it's all fake. You know, of course this is all fake. Of course it is. That doesn't mean it's not real. You see what I mean? And that right there was a very good line. One of the best lines I've ever heard. Okay? Yes, of course. Of course all movies are fake. They're all fictionalized. They're all written by somebody. Okay? For entertainment. Okay? To separate you from your money. You should be entertained for an hour and a half. I get all that. Okay? But the best movies have something in there that's real. Okay? Have something in there that's absolutely real. Okay? And that's, I think, that's what all people are looking for in movies. Okay? And when it comes to this topic, relationships, dating, middle-aged, how do I date at my age and fulfill my life so I don't throw away my life being married to the wrong guy or just finding myself or all that kind of transcendental bullshit, okay, that these white, rich, middle-aged, libtard women believe in. If that's going to be the genre, okay, then there needs to be something real in there, okay? And what's real in here? There's no real men. They're not even written real. Okay, there's no real struggles for Liz. Okay, all of this entire movie is about one thing: self-actualization, figuring out who the fuck she is. Who gives a shit? You already know who you are. You don't need to go to fucking Bali to figure that out. You don't need to go to Rome. Okay, you don't need to go to fucking Calcutta to figure out who you are. You know who you are. You're a person that is not fucking happy just using people. You're a person who's not fucking happy with their career, with their marriage, with their singleness, with the fact that they're not a parent. You're not happy. And you're so fucking against traditionalism that the idea of a woman using her vagina to give birth to a human being, to her, that's disgusting and a waste of a life. You see what I mean? The idea of being married, of saying vows to somebody and being with them, loving them, being committed to them for the rest of your life, to her, that's gross. That's not attractive at all. Well, that's who you are. And if that's who you are, guess what? That's the kind of life you're going to have. You're going to have the freedom. You're going to have the independence. You're going to have the career, because that's the most important thing. But you're not going to have love. Because what the fuck guy wants to fall in love with a woman like that? That puts herself first. Ahead of kids, ahead of the marriage, ahead of the relationship, ahead of everything. Okay? You're not going to have kids. You're not going to have anyone to pass down your legacy to. You know? Don't you want that? Don't you want to look at your daughter or something and think, like, the things that I learned, I'm passing it on to her, and she's going to carry that with her long after I'm gone, and she's going to pass that on to her children, and that's how the family keeps going. That's where the immortality is. But you've accomplished all these things in your life. You got the money, you've got the contract, you've got the best-selling book, movies made of your book, of several of your books. You've got the fame, the respect from the fucking Oprahs and Ellens of the fucking world, and the middle-aged fucking misandrists out there that fucking hate men. Okay, you've got all their respect, you've got their ear, you've got their attention. But what else do you have after that? You got nothing. And when you die, no one's going to give a shit about you. Just think about that. Who's going to show up at your friends? Because you've got no husband. You've got no kids. You spent your whole fucking life only thinking about yourself. You're going to die being the only one who does. The only one who did. And that's the truth. And that's sad. I feel sorry for Liz Gilbert. But I feel sorry for you for believing her bullshit. For reading this stuff and watching this stuff and thinking this is all good. This is what life's about. Maybe for some of you it is, okay? But that's also the ending that I just described for you. That's the ending. Okay? No one's going to remember you. No one's going to talk about you. You'll be that chick that fucking wrote that book that my grandma read a long time ago. That was stupid. See what I mean? So what do you do when you know this about yourself? When in the back of your mind, you understand this and you know this. What do you do? Simple, you cope. You blame men for everything. Boom. And that's what we got. It's all men's fault. See what I mean? No accountability. There's your mess. That's what it should be called. No accountability of the movie. All right. So where did we leave off last time? Okay, we left off with Felipe. Okay, yes, Liz got drunk at this party on the beach full of nothing but white people. And Felipe was there. He tried to hit on her, but of course she remembers him as the guy that almost ran her over. So she shoots him down. Instead, she gets with this hot young guy, fucking shirtless, more shredded than a Julienne salad, dancing Australian guy. They get drunk together, okay? Julia Roberts like, with that big fucking mouth of hers. Anyway, they decide to go wander off into the beach in the middle of the night to go fuck. Okay, so what does Felipe do while he's sitting there, with his dick in one hand and bottled water in the other and contemplating ending his life because he's a fucking pathetic excuse for a man? What does he do? Okay, when he's not listening to Phil Collins and Mary J. Blige, well, he follows Liz, okay, to go spy on them. He wants to watch them having sex. Okay, he doesn't want to pick up a girl and have sex himself. No, he's just a millionaire. That's it. Obviously we all know that no young hot women are attracted to that. Okay, no, he would rather just fucking go out there and look at Liz, this 42-year-old, and watch her fucking this like 19, 20-year-old guy, okay, on the beach while he's fucking jerking off. Okay, that's what he wants to do. Well, guess what? Liz ends up not fucking the guy. Ian is his name, the hot guy. You know why? Because he has a little penis. He pulls down his pants before he even fucking foreplays her, or nothing. He just once they get to the beach, he just pulls down his pants because that's what every fucking guy does. Right? They don't talk to her. They don't fucking feel her up first. They don't like touch her titties or get, or finger her, nothing like that. Kiss her neck. They don't do any of that stuff. They just fucking boom like that. Okay. They're very realistic. Okay. And of course she laughs at the size of his dick, and decides that she's too sophisticated and high value. Her 42-year-old ass deserves nothing but the best. She's too sophisticated and high value to be with a fucking young guy like him. She's already dated a young guy like him 6 months ago, 15 years ago. She's talking about David. All right. So she decides to fucking leave him there with his tiny little fucking penis. Okay, ripped abs and all that, but his tiny little fucking penis. That just turns her off. So she stumbles away from the beach, and guess what? There's fucking Felipe hiding in the shadows. So he takes advantage of the fact that she's not gonna fuck him, so that he can bump into her and offer her a ride home. And that's what he does. He drives her back to her fucking house, and by house I mean outdoor apartment. Okay, there are no walls. Okay, anybody can walk in there and walk into her bathroom. Okay, there are no walls. Now this is Indonesia, okay, where they have monsoons and shit, and tropical thunderstorms and hurricanes, and there's no walls in this fucking house. It's completely outdoors. So what happens when it rains? Exactly. There's no explanation for this. What happens when animals just decide to crawl into your house? Exactly. No explanation. All right, so he drops her off there, and of course she's hungover, so she's a bitch to him. Blah blah blah. Leaves her bicycle on his Jeep. Okay, well the next day or several hours later, okay, Felipe invades her apartment. He just walks in there while she's passed out in her bedroom, the bedroom with no walls. All right, and he brings her a liquid. Some sort of a liquid in a fucking Ziploc bag. Why the fuck? And he expects her to drink it. Who the fuck brings a fucking liquid in a Ziploc bag and tells them to drink it? Okay? But that's what he tells. I guess he didn't have any fucking sealed containers back at his house or something. No plastic cup with a lid on it. No, nothing like that. Just this fucking bag. Here, I brought this for you. Drink it. Okay? It's for hangovers. Get the fuck out of here. All right, so that's going on. He says that her door was wide open. Dude, the whole fucking house is wide open. You don't need a fucking door. Okay? You can walk right into the kitchen from the outside. This is stupid. Anyway. Her door was open, okay? He would, as if, because she's like, do you always just walk into someone's house without being invited in? He's like, do you always leave your front door wide open? Dude, the whole fucking house is open. And you drove all the way over to her house because he's been home by now, got some sleep, and came back. All right, since he dropped her off in the morning. Okay, and you're gonna let a fucking closed door stop you when you've got this bag of liquid in your hand? No, he would have just walked in anyway. So don't give me that fucking shit that the door was open. Okay, if the door had been closed, he would have turned around. No, he would not have. All right, so that's going on here. Felipe gets a call on his cell phone. It's his 19-year-old son. Yes, he has a son. You'd think this homosexual wouldn't have kids, but he does. He has a son named Leon. Well, that's a gay name. All right. Who doesn't understand, his son does not understand how to use the coffee machine. So I guess his son is visiting him. Or maybe his son is in Australia. I don't fucking know. But his son calls his dad because he can't operate the coffee machine. That's how fucking stupid his 19-year-old son is, all right? He doesn't understand how to use the coffee machine. He starts making fun of his dad because he thinks his dad is with a hot girl. Because his dad's being like, oh, your son. And he's like, Dad, is there a hot woman with you right now? Oh my God, Dad, are you in bed with a hottie? Like who the fuck talks to their father that way? All right, anyway. Felipe calls off calls all of his children and pets darling. Okay, so Liz notices something, that fucking Felipe is always using the word darling. He's calling everyone darling. Hey, darling, darling this, darling that. Now, here's the thing about Felipe. He's a tall man. Okay, it's Javier Bardem. Okay, he has a very rugged look. Okay, he's got the broken nose. He's got the deep voice. So on the surface, he looks like a very masculine man. Okay, like a guy who's been in a few fights. You know, he's got that voice. Hello, I am Javier Bardem. You know, like that. But once he actually starts talking, you realize he's a fucking pussy. Okay, he is a fucking pussy. He is a beta male. Okay, he's a crybaby. Okay, he's so concerned about he wears his heart on his sleeve. Okay, he's afraid that women are going to hurt his feelings, and that just filters everything that he says and the way that he acts. So on the surface, he looks like a very masculine man. I know why they cast him. Have you ever seen the real Juan Luis, the real guy she fell in love with? In real life, that guy was 20 years older than her. Okay, this guy is the same age as Julia Roberts. In fact, he's 1 year younger than Julia Roberts. Okay, so the movie version is nothing like the real version. Okay, so yes, so he sounds very masculine, looks very masculine, but once you start looking at him and starts looking at what he's talking about and listening to him and all that, you realize this guy's a beta male pussy. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Okay, he's a crybaby. He's so scared of getting his feelings hurt that he doesn't want to do anything. Okay, and that's exactly what he is. That is what he is. Okay, that is what Liz falls in love with. Okay, because she's never fallen in love with a real man. Okay, because a real man she would approach. She would approach a real man. She's attracted to real men. Okay, but because she's afraid to approach a real man, okay, because she's afraid of that, okay, she's not going to get a real man because she has nothing to offer a real man. A real man has self-confidence. A real man is not scared of women. A real man doesn't care whether or not she falls in love with him or doesn't, okay? His entire life's not dependent on her feelings towards him. You see what I mean? That's a real man, a man with self-confidence, okay? A guy who's going to get what's his no matter what, because he has that much fucking self-esteem, okay? That if a woman fucking dumps him, breaks his heart, he just gets another woman. He doesn't cry about it for 10 fucking years. He doesn't throw a tantrum in a fucking divorce proceeding, okay? He doesn't cry like a fucking bitch about shit that he did 10 years ago and how he regrets it. You see what I mean? He doesn't just fucking pull his dick down after he's known a woman for 5 seconds. You see what I mean? Real men don't do these things, but the men in this movie do. Because they're not real men. All right. So that's going on here, okay? What do you call it? He calls everybody darling, okay? Because he is a closeted homosexual. Of course he is. That's the only way I can reconcile this. Why does he act this way? Because he's a closeted homosexual. That makes sense. See, now everything makes sense. Okay? And now that I said that, so is Liz. No, I think Liz tried on. I think she tried on lesbianism, okay, because it's the thing to do. Because she got tired of dating these limp dick soy boy marrying and dating these limp dick soy boy beta males. All of this because, like I said, she's too afraid to date a real man. She can't date a real man. Okay, and so she decided that instead of blaming herself for only dating these weak limp dick soy boy beta males, instead of blaming herself for that and changing her dating habits, she decided that it must be men in general. So now I'm just going to date women because these women are all tough, strong, independent boss bitches that don't need no man. Okay? But here's the problem with that. The problem with that is dating a woman is not the same as dating a man. Okay? And once you realize that no matter how butch and masculine a woman acts, deep down inside, she is still a woman. Deep down inside, she is going to run away from the spider. Okay, deep down inside, she is going to have to ask a man to help her pick up something. Okay, and deep down inside, she is not going to fucking go downstairs when she hears a strange noise in the middle of the night. Okay, she's going to hide. Okay, unfortunately, that's the truth. Okay, no matter how tough she tries to present herself, okay, the deep down inside, there's things about her. Like she knows damn well, okay, that if she's out with her girlfriend and some guy talks shit, okay, to her girlfriend, okay, she's not going to stand up to him. Okay, she's not. She's gonna be like, hey, honey, let's get out of here. Okay, that's what she's gonna do. No matter how fucking tough she appears or tries to act. Okay, no matter how big that sock is that's in her fucking pants. Okay? Okay, when a real man approaches her, she is going to fucking cave. She is going to fold. Okay, that's what's gonna fucking happen. Okay? And there's just something, you know, because women are biologically programmed to be attracted to masculinity. Okay? So there's something about her that's just, it's not gonna feel right. It's not going to feel right. Okay? That she's dating a woman, okay? A tough boss bitch woman that can't even fucking pick her up and carry her across the aisle. Okay? There's something in the back of her mind that's gonna be like, this doesn't seem right. You see what I mean? Okay, and I think that is the reason that after, I know that that Liz and her lesbian wife were together. They're only together for like a year and a half, and then Raya, her lesbian wife, died. But what happened to Liz after? Did she date another woman? No, she started dating men. Okay, you see what I mean? So that proves my point right there. Okay, dating a woman was just another fucking flavor to try in the ice cream store. Okay, that's all it fucking was. All right, the only flavor she has never dated is real man. Okay, and rather than accept that, rather than, you know, accept accountability for that, she would rather just blame all men or paint all men under this umbrella. Okay, that they're all weak, limp dick, insecure beta male soy boys, because that's all she's ever known. Okay, because she would actually have to grow a fucking pair, okay, to date a guy, the type of man that all women want to date. Okay, she can't go there because she's too insecure, and she knows damn well that most men like that will not date her. Okay, so rather than deal with that rejection and that pain, she would rather date men that she can easily manipulate and control so that she can feel like the empowered boss bitch that she thinks that she is. Okay, that's why. Okay, but you're not going to get any of that from this movie. That's why you need my channel to tell you. All right, so that's going on here. Okay, Felipe gives Liz his phone number and address and volunteers as a tour guide to show her around Bali. Bitch, she's already been to Bali. This is her second time there. I'm sure she knows where everything is already, okay? You know, and tells her that she looks astonishing. See, he has to use fucking adjectives. Okay, who the fuck uses adjectives? Oh, sweetie, you look marvelous. You look astonishing. You look incredible. Oh, sweetheart, you look amazing. Who the fuck does that? You know who does that? Gay guys do that. You're fabulous. Get the fuck out of here. Oh my God. Anyway. So he tells her she looks astonishing, you know. Then he does a Slurpee up like that, and then he leaves. Like, what the fuck is this? Oh my God. This just gets worse. All right, so she offers him some coffee before he leaves so that they can go on a date, okay? So she runs after him while he's leaving and says, hey, you know, Mr. Tour Guide, can you show me around? And what does Felipe say? This is what he says. Felipe looks up at her. Remember, he was about to leave, and then she stops him and says, hey, you know what, Mr. Tour Guide, I think I'll take you up on your offer to show me around. What does he do? He looks up at her because she's up there, he's down there. That's on purpose. He looks up at her. He says, you know, I saw you last night. I saw you disrespect me and drink and dance with another man all night. And then you left with him to go fuck on the beach. And he didn't have to drive you home safely. He didn't have to bring you your bike that he left on his Jeep. Okay? He didn't have to bring you medicine for your hangover. Okay? Or refer to you as astonishing. He didn't have to do any of those things. He also didn't have to offer to show you around Bali. You just wanted to fuck him anyway. And he didn't have to refer to you as darling either, did he? No, he didn't. So, what I think, Liz, is go fuck yourself. Okay, that's not what happened. But if I had written it, that's what would have happened. Then again, I never would have showed up at her place with a bag full of fucking medicine. Okay, that's just ridiculous. That's just stupid. Oh my fucking, talk about simp soy boy beta male behavior. It does not work. You know what happens if you try to do this shit in real life? You know what happens? Okay, she calls the fucking cops on you. That's what fucking happens, okay? Because there's a reason she was dancing and wanting to fuck another guy all night long, okay? You know why? You know why it was? Because she's not fucking attracted to you. She's not attracted to you. That's why she went with a guy that she was attracted to. Okay? So why the fuck would you invade the home of a woman who's not attracted to you? There's no men in this movie. There's no men involved in writing this movie. Okay, so that's going on here. Okay, so they end up walking around the street, the market, in Bali, with all the fucking diseases and shit with the COVID, covering all the chicken and everything, All right, I've had enough for now. Okay, I'm going to stop right here, but I will be back to continue my review of this piece of shit movie. Okay, no matter how many videos it takes. Before I leave, I want to give you this real quick here. Okay, Diego Knows and Knows Diego. That is my X account. That's my X right there. And Diego de la Vega Knows. That is my Rumble. Okay, this video will be on Rumble as well. Okay, so yes. So I thank you very much for watching this long, and I will see you soon on the next video. Bye.